Curley Hallman inside the locker room. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Curley.
Good morning. Just trying to get ready. It's pretty cool up here in the shows and getting ready for all this rain for the next few days.
Yeah, we're supposed to get it here, too. Go ahead, Dap.
Curley, I look at coaches now going from the pros to college, from college to pros, being interviewed both places, jumping back and forth. To me, since you and I coached, I think not only is title important, Coach Saban's got 2 assistant head coaches, and I know money's important, and I know that the quest to be a head coach is important. And so Derek Ansley moves from Kentucky to Alabama, defensive backfield coach, goes to the pros after a year or 2, leaves the pros, and now he's going to the University of Tennessee as defensive coordinator. This thing is everything it has. It has changed a lot since, or has it changed, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I guess it looks like it's kind of musical chairs, but I guess different coaches or different people have got their comfort zone, and I know the money is big, whether it's at the collegiate level or the pros. But and some guys, I've been around some guys that love to recruit. I used to love to recruit. Some guys don't like to recruit. No. Everybody loves to coach. Yeah. Some guys that recruiting eats them up. The pros fit them better. And maybe vice versa, but it's a little confusing to me. It seems like we got more moving in the coaching profession maybe than any time ever. So I don't know what the answer is.
Along with that, Butch Jones stays at Alabama. Rumor, I don't know anything. Rumor is he could have gone to Maryland. Thought that he was holding out maybe for a position at Alabama, probably getting paid by Tennessee. Probably if they went to Maryland for a big salary, they would take part of this money that he's getting from Tennessee. Can stay at Alabama in a program that he knows is good as an analyst, rather than going to Maryland with a place that might be good. What do you think?
Well, I think in Butch's situation, financially, he can prop his feet up. Don't have to worry about that house payment or tuition for the kids. So there's a comfort zone there, I think, for him. So, to go to Maryland as an assistant or stay at Alabama as an analyst and looking down the road at the end of here in just a few months, I think, of course, visiting with Coach Saban, et cetera, his chances of getting another head job is probably better at Alabama. And I think that, it's just my feelings that you can leave there and get you another head job someplace and get back to what you really love and want to do, and that's coaching and being a head coach. So I think that might have had something to do with it. But once again, you go back to that pay scale, that salary that he's getting. he's fine there.
Curley, one area where I'm an expert and Dad's not, and I want to get you to comment on how difficult this is. He stayed at Alabama for 32 years, which is a good thing. I never had to move. In 19 years in Division I coaching, I moved 8 times. Now, I think for coaches, it's not that hard. You just get in there with your staff, and you get going, and then you get going. I think for the wives and the kids, it's difficult. They got to come into a new environment. The ladies don't know anybody. What school do I go to send the kids to? Where do I get my hair done? Well, who's the doctor? All those things. It can be stressful on a family moving from one place to another. I think the coach is fine. He gets into this, starts doing his thing, and that's what he's always done. But for a family, it's difficult, maybe more than people realize. I want to get you to comment on that.
It is. It can be totally stressful, challenging, disruptive, whatever you want to call it, on the family and the total family, and in life you look back and see where you're talking about. Coach Sanders in 32 years in one place, et cetera, and you moved X number of times. I moved X number of times, and was very fortunate to work with what I thought was great people work for them, and at some great universities, and time flies. All of a sudden, you look back, and where'd the time go, and sacrifices you made for a profession that you love, and the sacrifices that your family made for those moves. And hindsight, you look back and say, you know what, might have been better off staying at one place.
Yeah.
And that, it's always hindsight. I tell young coaches, if you're happy, if the overall family is happy, one place you better take that into consideration. I mean, I talked to Freddie Kitchens here several years ago about a job decision, and he listened to me, and it's worked out great for him. But it can be brutal on the family, and those days fly by, and those years fly by. And I use an example. I have to tell people that when I was at Southern Miss, super happy, family was happy and everything, but you always dreaming bigger. Hindsight, I wished I'd have stayed at Southern Miss, and I guess a lot of that has to do with you having really good success, and feel like the family's happy, the kids are happy. So sometimes bigger is not better, but it's hard to tell. Young coaches or people in the profession, but it can be testing on everyone. And I look back now, and Jennifer's 42 with 3 kids in Birmingham. Jessica's 38. She's got 3 kids in Kansas City. Sometimes I'm sorry and say, where did the time go? So it can be challenging.
No doubt, Dad.
Curley, Alabama is known for doing things differently with their football staffs and with their preparation and so forth. Back when I was there with watching Coach Bryant and them operate, they didn't meet much after football was over with. Not with 7 new coaches. Nick Saban's not going to change the terminology. If you come in, you better learn what the terminology at Alabama is. Is he going to have to spend his time with those 7 new coaches, or are the people that are the coaches that are back from last year? Are they going to take these coaches? Are they going to meet a lot to get on the same page all spring long in order to know what they're doing in August?
I think you're 100% correct. They're the ones that have been with Coach Saban. Like Coach Saban's he's not going to learn new terminology and this, and he'll take some little things and incorporate it. But he's been at it too long to go back and start learning every little thing that, say, the new offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator wants to do. So the guys there that are familiar with those things, they'll do some meeting and bringing points back up. But it'll be a lot of meetings with Coach Saban and the new guys, and then you burn the midnight oil or whatever the time element is there. Do you learn it, get it down, and try to perfect it? And so there'll be maybe a little bit more meeting time and some one-on-ones and that kind of stuff, and be time to meet during the day and time to recruit during the day and time to perfect it.
Do the analysts get in? Do the analysts get in the big meetings? I know one of us had a picture of a staff meeting. I think Barry did, and I mean that thing was packed with coaches. And I just wondered if the defensive and offensive analysts came down to the meetings as well.
I think they do, and then you got the off-season program. I'm not even sure about a lot of these rules now and that stuff, but those analysts that are back, assistant strength coaches that are back, that are football-minded. So, like I said, I've seen the press guide at these schools now, and it is shocking, the number of people. And I promise you, they're studying every little thing, so those analysts will have some input, and they can help the new guys during their transition, et cetera. So that's 24 hours in the day, so see what they do with it.
Can you imagine if you're like Holman Wiggins, you're coming from Virginia Tech, and you walk down to the weight room and you want to meet your receiving core, and you walk into that kind of talent, walks into your position room. I mean, I do think these coaches, these new guys, when they go meet these guys in the weight room and they get out there on the field, they're going to be pretty giddy, aren't they, Curley, with how Nick Saban and the previous staff has recruited with what they've got to work with?
It'll open their eyes up, because I promise you, the size and the speed of what they're going to be coaching at a place like Alabama, the new guys, they've never seen anything like it, I promise you. Like, you hear some of these pro scouts and people that come in and at places like Alabama, and there's not too many of them like it, and just the size and everything, they say, oh my goodness, never seen anything like it. You know, and LSU is another place I been to several years ago. Some pro scout said, you look out there and you didn't see a lot of difference in what an NFL team physically looks like and what the LSU team looked like, talking about those defensive linemen and offensive linemen. So it's a little bit different now in the old days. I can remember when Coach Bryant had those 205, 210-pound guards that were high school running backs or fullbacks. Totally different.
Yeah, Holman Wiggins, he's going to walk in there and say, man, them plays at Virginia Tech, they work a lot better when you got Alabama receivers running them. He's got to be blown away when he sees how good these receivers are, doesn't it, Curley?
Yeah, and I think it's pretty much every position similar to that. But what Alabama's got at the wide receivers, and I mentioned to y'all before, what impresses me as much as anything is not just the speed that they play with, but when they got the ball in their hands, I think they're physical, and they're not giants, but boy, they play strong.
Yeah.
Hey, before I forget it, on Valentine's Day, did y'all buy diamonds or dinner?
Neither. Let me ask y'all this on Valentine's Day. If your wife tells you something that she wants, are you better off and you go ahead and get it? Are you better off getting it early or late? See, I got mine like 2 days before Valentine's. She ordered me something. I didn't get it till after Valentine's. It's better to get it early, right? You better get it early, because as we get older, we forget what happened 2 to 3 days ago. Yeah, that's right. That's right. While it's on your mind, go get it. Dad, did you have another football question, or we were talking Valentine's?
Yeah, I got one more football question.
Go ahead.
I want to know, would it help both programs, neither program, not necessary for Texas to play Texas Tech again, Texas A&M again, pardon me?
I'm sorry, Wimp. Say that again.
All right, I want to know, for both sides for both teams, both programs, everything, football in general, one of them's going to get beat. Should Texas go back to playing Texas A&M?
Oh, I personally, for me, because I was part of that series, and I've used the example over and over. You go back in great traditions, and I've been fortunate enough to lucky enough to be around them. The Alabama-Auburn thing is special. Clemson, South Carolina, for those people, that's special. You got Michigan, Ohio State, but Texas A&M was a special rivalry. Just the whole state, and look forward to it. And for the years and years, it was on Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day, and so it's going to happen again someday, but I'm not sure when. But the former players, I would think, that's been involved with it would love for it to come back, but it's still going to take a few years. But I think it's positive for that great rivalry to resume, and the fans would love it. So I think it's a positive that they play again. Can you imagine Alabama and Auburn not playing?
Alabama. Has A&M improved themselves by coming to the SEC, or are they better off in the other league?
Oh, I think improved themselves. The SEC, I think they're a perfect fit. The money that comes in from the SEC to each school. So of course, A&M doesn't need any money. They got as much money as anybody in the country, and so does Texas. So I think it's positive. I think they're a perfect fit. And like Coach Bryant years ago, someday it's going to happen. There's going to be a super league, and you can call it I shared this with you a little bit before. You can call it Super League. There's A, B, C, and D. 20 teams in each one of those, or 18, whatever you want to figure. Someday, and Coach Bryant has said this, played around with that, and someday it's going to happen, and this playoff deal will be fair, and it'll be won on the field. One of these days, let's have enough minutes to share what I think will happen someday.
Curley, I know what happened in the Clemson.
I'm sorry, Barry, speak.
I know what. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, good.
I know with what happened in the Clemson game will help Alabama this offseason prepare. In the past, they've had a great opponent sitting there in the first game, Florida State. They've had Michigan. This year, they've got Duke sitting there. And then after Duke, they got New Mexico State. And then they go to South Carolina, which won't be easy. Then they got Southern Miss. Then they got Ole Miss at home. Should Alabama be, I don't want to say criticized, but that's a pretty weak schedule starting out. Does that have any effect on preparing this football team, or does that Clemson loss take care of that, where it doesn't matter who you play early?
Well, what does it do for a program like Alabama with great talent and great young talent? It helps that great young talent to get snaps and get reps. Then the next game they get a few more. So it will help Alabama playing time for talented young kids to get them oriented into what they're doing, and you get to play them a lot, and everybody's happy, and you improve as a football team. Now that's the positive side of playing maybe a so-called weaker schedule. And when young talent develops, it's nothing but a plus for you overall.
Yeah, Dad, anything else for Curley before we let him go?
No, I can't think of anything else. I appreciate you being on, Curley. Say it's going to be
one last thing. I went to something here Sam and I did in Birmingham just a few days ago, and they have it once a year, and it's called 1 Yard at a Time. And basically what it is military veterans, and it's a gala, and Wimp and Barry, what it is it's coaches, players. Cornelius Bennett was the guest speaker, did a great job, and you got these veterans there. They're some 98 years old, and they're giving this kind of recognition for them, honoring them, and it is something super special. And I think this was the first one. They have another one next year. That's the first week in February, and it is something that I think everyone would enjoy, and I think it can grow. And I invited at our table a guy that has become a special friend. Now, he's not the age of these World War II and Vietnam veterans, but he just retired. And he loved it and wore his Navy SEAL uniform. Can you imagine Wimp being a young guy in the kind of early 40s, and he's 22-year retired Navy SEAL, and he loved it. And I think the people loved it, and to see the brightness and the happiness on those veterans. I talked to one, I think he's 98 years old. Tam and I visited with him about 10, 15 minutes, and to see the recognition and with him and his football signed by players and coaches and stuff, it's something special. And look it up. Maybe next year, Wimp, you and Barry, and like I said, I'm going to try to, I don't know if I can get it done, but I'm going to try to get Brett Favre, if they'd be interested in Brett coming and speaking at it. And it is something special, seeing the glow on those veterans' faces from that event.
Awesome stuff, Curley. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Curley. Appreciate it.
Y'all stay dry.